disconnect switch. Okay. Now, in your case, you're pretty much always going to be on shore power. You probably never need to touch this.
Okay.
In the fall or whenever you want to store it for more than a week at a time, you can turn this off. It's just isolating the battery. What I recommend people do for the winter, though, is take this battery out and put it in your warm house for the winter, if you can.
Like in a shed?
No, it's not warm.
Well, we're not taking it. It'll be on the property.
No, but his point is that you can remove this and take it.
Well, let me explain why, though. So, this is a regular lead acid battery like you have in your car. These batteries are meant to be used and recharged regularly. So if it sits for a whole winter, by the time spring comes around, it's going to be discharged. Even though everything's on, lead acid batteries discharge, I think, like 30% per month or something like that. Like, it's some crazy number. So by the time spring rolls around, they'll be dead. A dead battery, if you freeze it, will damage it. So this is fully charged, you can freeze it all you want. But you're not going to be around to be able to maintain it. So what you want to do is pull it out, bring it home with you, keep it somewhere warm if you can, to keep the best life for that battery.
Okay.
So the day we're going to pack up in the fall, we pull that out. They can still come in and winterize or do anything that they need to do. They don't need that.
They don't need that.
We take that.
Correct.
And we somehow
as
need
long as there's shore power, they can still do the things they need to do.
And okay. And so then if they didn't have that battery when they hook it up in the spring, it's okay because they're going to be connected to the shore.
I'm sure they're used to all the dead batteries anyway from the winter. But yeah, once you plug into shore power, so since we're on that subject now, charging this battery, there's 3 ways to charge it. Okay. If you're plugged into a vehicle, it's going to be supplying 12 volt power. If it's wired correctly at the vehicle side, it'll supply 12 volt power to this battery, and will charge this as well as run all the 12 volt circuits in the camper if you're plugged into the truck. If you're plugged into shore power, let me go by. There's something called a converter. The converter converts 120 volts down to 12 volts. Okay, well actually like 13.5, but anyway, it takes the shore power and knocks it down to 12 volts, so it can run your 12 volt circuits and charge this as well. And then the third way would be if you have solar on the roof. I don't know if you guys do or not.
I don't think so, no.
But if you did, that'd be another way to charge it. So it's kind of the 3 ways to keep this topped off. So yeah, like I said, you don't want to, like, when I say it's disconnected with that switch, it's not really isolated completely. There's a couple things by law that have to be hardwired in a trailer. One of those is the carbon monoxide alarm and propane alarm, which are all in one unit. But that's always going to have a very small draw on this battery. Even with that switch off, it's required to be hardwired.
Well, they won't be able to move this without that battery, though.
Yeah,
will they?
Yes, you can.
That's what I was wondering, because we're going to be...
This doesn't supply anything for, like, tail lights or anything on the end of it.
This has nothing to do with...
Okay.
The only thing this does is if you're going down the highway, there's something called the emergency breakaway cable, which is right here.
Oh.
If you pull that pin out with the battery in, it will lock up the brakes, thinking that it's off the truck and flying down the road on its own.
I got you.
That's the only thing.
Okay.
But you don't need the battery to run the lights at all. That's all power slide.
I figured.
Yeah.
This is just called regular battery. There's no special name for that, right?
Battery. Yeah, just a
house
battery.
battery.
We call it a house battery,
Okay.
but it's just a 12 volt battery is all it is, like your car battery.
Okay. So one thing to remember is to...
So this is open, so the battery...
If you want it to last, pull it off
Yep.
and keep it charged.
What's a new battery cost?
$200 probably.
Okay.
Give or take. They're expensive.
Yeah.
Batteries aren't cheap.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is Interstate. They're a good brand, so I would recommend taking care of it.
Okay.
But yeah, if you let that discharge and freeze, it's gonna ruin it pretty quickly.
In one season, would you say? I mean, is that...
One season of not charging it?
Or of not taking it home? It's just a crapshoot? It's...
Like I said, if they're fully charged, you can freeze them all you want if they're charged.
Okay.
But as soon as it gets discharged to a certain, below a certain point, the cells in there will actually freeze, and I can't remember what they call it. Like, it basically gets a coating on the individual cells in the battery that will cause it to no longer work.
Okay. Fair enough.
So that's why I say if you can take it home, do that. If not, keep it topped off outside. As long as it's charged, you can keep it outside. But a lot of people they're called battery tenders. You ever hear about that?
Mm-mm.
So a battery tender is like a low voltage battery charger that just kind of makes a little trickle charge to your battery all the time. People who park their cars for the winter, or in this case an RV or a boat, they just put on that battery and just supplies enough voltage to keep it topped off all the time. That way it can be frozen and not worry about it.
Okay.
You can do that. I don't know if you guys are going to be parked in the field over there, if you're going to be at your lot all winter.
In the winter, it'll just be in that open field.
So there's no way to plug it in anyway.
No.
So you're better off bringing it home.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.